Hi everyone, I'm Lise from Let's Speak French, and today we'll be reading a book from my French student. Her name is Vicky Bennett, and she's the author of this book, Deux Pennies. I'll be reading the French version, and Vicky will be reading the English version of this book. And at the end, if you want to, she would talk about the book a little bit at the end of this video. So I will be starting. This is called Deux Pennies. Quand Georges était petit garçon, il avait un scooter, un petit camion en bois et un jeu de dominos que son grand-père lui avait donné. Il habitait avec sa mère, son frère et ses deux sœurs au-dessus de leur boulangerie. Tôt le matin, Georges sentait le riche arôme du pain chaud, fumant, sortant des grands fours de la boulangerie.
When George was a little boy, he had a scooter, a small wooden truck, and a set of dominoes his grandfather had given him. He lived with his mum, his brother, and his two sisters above their bakery. Early in the mornings, George would smell the warm, rich aroma from the bread as it came hot and steaming from the big ovens in the bakery.
Un jour, la mère de Georges lui demanda de mettre ses plus beaux habits. Après le départ de son frère et ses sœurs pour l'école, ils prirent le train pour les quais. Il ne se souvenait pas d'avoir vu sa mère si contente et sautillait joyeusement près d'elle. Un grand bateau venait juste d'arriver et déchargeait camions et voitures et des centaines de soldats, de retour de la Première Guerre mondiale. Les soldats avançaient en file vers eux.
One day, George's mother asked him to put on his good clothes. After his brothers and sisters had left for school, they caught the tram into the docks. He couldn't remember ever seeing his mother so happy, and he skipped happily and cheerfully along beside her. A big ship had just arrived and was unloading trucks and cars and thousands of soldiers back from the First World War. The soldiers were streaming towards them.
Soudainement, à travers la foule, tête et épaules, dépassant les autres, apparut un grand soldat aux cheveux noirs. Georges reconnut Henri, son père de la photo sur le manteau de la cheminée. Il marchait vers eux, revenant de la guerre en France. Ils coururent pour le rencontrer et Henri souleva Georges au-dessus de sa tête et le mit sur ses épaules. Georges resta là jusqu'à la maison.
Suddenly, through the crowd, head and shoulders above the others, appeared a tall soldier with jet black hair. George recognized Henry, his dad, from a photo on the mantelpiece. There he was, walking towards them, home from the war in France. They ran to meet him, and Henry lifted George high above his head and sat him on his shoulders. There George stayed all the way home.
Quand Georges était un peu plus grand, il remarqua que son père était souvent triste. C'était comme si un gros nuage noir le suivait partout. Parfois, il trouvait son père tout seul dans son bureau, regardant dans le vide. Il demanda alors à son père, « Qu'est-ce qu'il y a, papa? Pourquoi es-tu si triste? » Henri lui raconta que quand il se battait à la guerre, des bombes avaient détruit de nombreux villages en France. Et il était triste parce que des petites filles et garçons de l'âge de Georges n'avaient plus d'école où aller.
When George was a little older, he noticed that his dad was often sad. It was as if a big, black, dark cloud was following him around. Sometimes he would find his dad alone in his study, staring into space. So he asked his father, "What's wrong, Daddy? Why are you so sad?" Henry told him that when he was fighting in the war, bombs destroyed many villages in France, and he was sad because little girls and boys George's age had no schools to go to.
Georges pensa longuement aux filles et aux garçons en France. Un jour, le directeur, à la parade de l'école, annonça qu'il allait amasser des fonds pour bâtir une école dans un petit village s'appelant Villers-Bretonneux en France. De nombreuses batailles impliquant des soldats australiens ont eu lieu là. Georges était si excité. Si chaque élève amassait 2 pennies, cela aiderait à reconstruire l'école en France.
George thought and thought about the boys and girls in France. One morning, the headmaster on school announced that they were going to raise money to build a school in a little village called Villers-Bretonneux in France. Many battles involving Australian soldiers had taken place there. George was so excited. If every child in the school raised 2 pennies, it would help to build the school in France.
Plus tard, quand Georges, son frère et ses sœurs étaient à table, il annonça son plan. Je vais trouver du travail pour économiser 2 pennies pour rebâtir une école en France. Son frère et ses sœurs se moquèrent de lui. Georges, tu as seulement 5 ans. Tu ne peux pas avoir un travail. Oh oui, je peux, dit Georges, très fier et gonflant sa poitrine. Vous verrez. Son frère et ses sœurs rigolèrent. Mais plus tard, quand la vaisselle fut faite, essuyée et rangée, sa mère lui demanda d'aller dans le bureau de son père.
Later, when George and his brothers and sisters sat eating their dinner, he announced his plan. I'm going to find a job so that I can raise 2 pennies to build a school in France. His brothers and sisters teased him. But George, you're only 5 years old. You can't get a job. Oh, yes, I can, said George, sitting up very tall and puffing his chest out. You just watch me. His brothers and sisters laughed, but afterwards, when all the dishes were washed and dried and put away, his mother asked him to go into his father's study.
Il ouvrit la porte. Les lumières étaient éblouissantes et le visage de son père s'illuminait. Son père lui dit, « Si tu peux te lever de bonne heure tous les matins pour nourrir les chevaux et les préparer pour délivrer le pain, tu pourras économiser assez d'argent pour aider à bâtir l'école. » Georges fit un large sourire et dit, « Tu peux compter sur moi, papa. »
He opened the door. The lights were blazing and his dad's face was beaming. His dad said, if you can wake up very early every morning to feed the horses and get them ready to deliver the bread, you can earn enough money to help build the school. George smiled a big, wide, happy smile and said, you can count on me, Dad.
Tous les matins, Georges se leva de bonne heure pour s'occuper des chevaux. D'abord, il les sortit de l'étable, leur mit les rênes et les attacha à la rampe dehors. Puis, il nourrit chacun d'un seau d'avoine pour leur remplir l'estomac pour leur journée de travail. Après la livraison du pain, Georges les lava et brossa leur manteau. Il était enfin propre et lustré. Bientôt, il gagna ses 2 premiers pennies.
Every day, George rose early to care for the horses. First, he led them from the stables, put their bridles over their necks and tethered them to the horse rail outside. Then he fed each of them a bucket of hay and oats so that they would have full stomachs to do their day's work. After the horses had delivered the bread, George washed and brushed their coats so they were clean and shiny. Soon, he had earned his first 2 pennies.
Les enfants étaient excités d'apporter leurs pennies à l'école. Le directeur calcula que s'il plaçait tous les pennies bout à bout, cela ferait une ligne de 1,6 km de long. Chaque enfant mit fièrement leurs 2 pennies bout à bout en une ligne s'étirant autour de l'école comme un serpent brillant. L'école, à Villers-Bretonneux, en France, fut nommée l'école Victoria, d'après tous les enfants en Victoria, Australie, qui aidèrent à la construire.
The children were very excited to bring their pennies to school. The headmaster calculated if they placed all the pennies end to end, It would make a line that would stretch a mile long. So each child proudly placed their 2 pennies end to end, stretching around the school like a shiny snake. The school at Villers-Bretonneux in France is named the Victoria School, after all the children in Victoria, Australia, who helped to build it.
Georges continua de travailler avec les chevaux. Chaque matin et très vite, il gagna d'autres pennies. Il les mit de côté dans sa boîte secrète sous le lit. Il rêvait de visiter l'école Victoria en France. Mais après la guerre, la vie était dure. Hommes et femmes ne trouvaient pas de travail. Il était difficile de nourrir les familles. Le père de Georges était un homme généreux. Quand certains de ses clients n'avaient pas d'argent, il leur donnait du pain et des gâteaux pour manger. Le père de Georges avait besoin de son aide dans la boulangerie. Il n'y avait pas assez d'argent pour un long voyage en France.
George kept working early mornings with the horses, and very soon he had earned another 2 pennies. He put these away in his secret box under his bed. He dreamt of visiting the Victoria School in France, but after the war, life was hard. Men and women couldn't get work, so it was difficult to feed their families. George's father was a kind man. When some of his customers didn't have money for food, he gave them bread, cake, and buns so that they could eat. George's father needed him to help in the bakery. There was no money to spend on a long trip to France.
Georges grandit et quitta la maison. Il maria son amoureuse Vida et eut 2 enfants. Ils étaient très heureux, mais les temps étaient encore durs. Il n'y avait toujours pas assez d'argent pour un voyage en France.
George grew up and left home. He married his sweetheart, Vida, and they had 2 children of their own. They were very happy, but times were still tough. There was still no money for a trip to France.
Finalement, en 1982, Georges écrivit une lettre au maire de Villers-Bretonneux pour lui demander si lui et sa femme pouvaient les visiter. « Oui », fut la réponse du maire. « Ce serait un grand honneur de vous avoir pour visiter l'école. » Le voyage prit 23 heures par avion pour atteindre Paris, puis 2 heures de plus par le train jusqu'au village. Georges et Vida n'avaient jamais été dans une pareille aventure.
Finally, in 1982, George wrote a letter to the mayor of Villers-Bretonneux to ask if he and his wife could visit. Yes, was the mayor's reply. It would be a great honour to have you visit the school. It took 23 hours in a flight to Paris, and then 2 more hours on the train to the village. George and Vida had never been on such an adventure.
C'était un jour clair et ensoleillé, avec un ciel d'azur, quand le grand train noir s'arrêta sur la plateforme de Villers-Bretonneux. Georges était très emballé d'être finalement là, dans un jour de festivité apparente. Une fanfare jouait de la musique et les enfants portaient leur habit du dimanche. Georges et Vida ramassèrent leurs bagages et sortirent sur la plateforme. Un homme, avec un manteau rouge, des boutons dorés et des médailles autour du cou, s'approcha d'eux et leur parla très excité en français. « Madame, monsieur, suivez-moi, s'il vous plaît. » Ils ne comprirent pas ce que cet homme leur disait. Alors, ils sourirent et continuèrent de marcher.
It was a bright sunny day with an aqua blue sky with a big black train pulled into the platform in Villers-Bretonneux. George was thrilled to finally be there, and on what seemed to be a festival day. A brass band was playing music and children were dressed in their Sunday best. George and Vida were gathering their luggage and they stepped out on the platform. A man in a fine red coat and brass buttons and medals around his neck approached them and spoke excitedly in French. Madame, monsieur, suivez-moi, s'il vous plaît. And they did not understand what the man was saying, so they smiled and kept walking.
Tout à coup, un Anglais sortit de la foule et dit « Le maire vous souhaite la bienvenue au village et voudrait que vous l'accompagniez à l'école. Ils sont très contents de vous voir. » Cette fanfare est pour nous? Demanda Georges. Oui, monsieur, répondit le maire fièrement, guidant Georges et Vida à l'école Victoria. La fanfare les suivit, jouant fortement. Les écoliers faisaient une parade en chantant Waltzing Matilda quand ils arrivèrent. Georges ne pouvait contenir son plaisir de finalement voir l'école qu'il avait aidé à construire.
Suddenly, out of the crowd stepped an Englishman who said, "The mayor is welcoming you to the village and he would like you to go with him to the school. They are very happy to see you." "Is this band for us?" asked George. "Oui, monsieur," said the mayor proudly, as he guided George and Vida to the Victoria School. The band followed, playing loudly. The school children were on parade singing Waltzing Matilda when they arrived. George was bursting with happiness to finally see the school that he had helped to build.
Plusieurs années plus tard, quand Georges fut devenu âgé, sa fille lui rendit visite. Il ouvrit une petite boîte en bois, prit 2 pennies et les plaça dans la main de sa fille. Georges dit à sa fille, de toutes les pennies que j'ai économisées quand j'étais un petit garçon, j'ai gardé ces 2-là. Je veux que tu les délivres au village en France et que tu les donnes à l'école pour moi.
Many years later, when George was an old man, his daughter came to visit him. He opened a small wooden box, took 2 pennies, and placed them into her hand. George said to his daughter, "Of all the pennies I raised when I was a little boy, I've kept these 2, and I want you to take them to the village in France and give them to the school for me."
La fille de Georges prit un grand avion pour la France et trouva la petite école que son père avait aidé à bâtir dans le village. Ces 2 pennies sont maintenant fièrement exposées dans le musée franco-australien à Villers-Bretonneux. Il raconte l'histoire d'un petit garçon qui avait un rêve et l'a rendu possible.
George's daughter flew in a big aeroplane to France and found the little school in the village that her father had helped to build. These 2 pennies are now proudly displayed in the French-Australian Museum in Villers-Bretonneux. They tell the story of a little boy who had a dream and made it come true.
Merci Vicky. Vicky, I was going to say can you tell a little bit about this book and this story, put this for us?
And this is my story that I wrote. My name is Vicky Bennett, and this is a picture of my dad, and he went off to his war, the Second World War, and up in Papua New Guinea, but he always spoke about what he had done and couldn't believe that a little boy could help to rebuild a school in Villers-Bretonneux. So I grew up with this story, and it became something that was very dear to me. And there's my dad.
That's nice.
There we are together. And the 2 pennies. 2 pennies.
The 2 pennies.
And there they are, in situ, in the museum.
Oh, museum. Okay.
Yeah. In the museum, the Australian French Museum in Villers-Bretonneux. And there's a piece in the newspaper when I visited to give the pennies to Monsieur Oliville, and he's accepting them. And he is a very generous, he's still the headmaster there, and I hope that this reading finds its way there. I'll certainly do my best to send it to you in Villers-Bretonneux. Yes, he's smiling because there was a couple of things that were happening here. He was crying because of the poignancy of the story, and smiling because of my very poor pronunciation in French, because I wrote my speech in French, and you can see it on the front of a Google page to help us get there. And it was done with lots of enthusiasm, but not necessarily a great deal of excellent pronunciation. And there's the school in Villers-Bretonneux.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see the school. Haven't been there yet.
They will welcome you, I can assure you. And that's the museum, although it's been done up since then, and it looks a little bit more modern, but still maintains that lovely simplicity of a place that was built by Victorian school children. And there I am. It was a windy day.
Beaucoup de vent. Beaucoup de vent. Beaucoup de vent.
And that's underneath the sign that's in the courtroom in the courtyard of the school, Victoria School. And that's the 2 pennies, deux pennies. And this is a lovely picture that was taken in 2015 when we went over to launch the book. And on the right-hand side of the screen is Stephen Brady, who was the ambassador for France at that time. And he was very generous to come down to Villers-Bretonneux and actually launch the book for me. And in the middle is the mayor of Villers-Bretonneux, and on the other side is the aide-de-camp. And they were all tremendously supportive of the book and how it was. So it was very exciting. And I've got a video to run. I'm just not sure if I can do it. Let's have a look.
2 pennies. This story begins on the battlefields of the Somme. The First World War had been raging in Europe for almost 4 years. By April 1918, the trenches around Villers-Bretonneux were mud-drenched wastelands. The German army occupied the village and was determined to capture Amiens, a town close to Villers-Bretonneux and only 70 miles from Paris, their final destination. All that stood between the German army and Amiens were the men of the 13th and 15th Brigades, Australian Imperial Forces, and 2 British battalions. On the evening of April 24, 1918, these brave men turned back the German advance, and by morning had recaptured Villers-Bretonneux. But this small village was shattered. Homes, public buildings, shops, the town hall, the church, and the village school were all in tatters. On the morning of April 25, Anzac Day, a head count showed that 1,200 Australian soldiers had died to capture the village. A few years later in Melbourne, Victoria, a little boy had a dream to help rebuild the school in Villers-Bretonneux. This little boy, George, lived above his family's bakery. He woke early each morning to care for the horses that drew the carts to deliver the bread. Soon he had earned his first 2 pennies to help rebuild the school. It was then that a bond was forged between George and Villers-Bretonneux that was never broken. George was not alone. Thousands of Victorian school children donated pennies. This initiative became known as the Penny Drive. The Victoria School, standing on the Rue de Victoria in Villers-Bretonneux, was rebuilt between 1923 and 1927. In the quadrangle of the school, painted over a porch on a green background in yellow, is written, "Do not forget Australia." 2 pennies is a powerful and poignant story about this little boy who, with courage, hope, and perseverance, helped to rebuild this school across the oceans.
The wonderful thing that I love about that is you might have recognized the voice. It's my brother, who's a professional actor who does a lot of voiceover for Channel 10, and before that he was the voice of SBS, and he actually did that short video for me, and my son-in-law Philip Orth actually helped to find the pictures and made it for me. So it was a whole family getting in together and doing it, which made it really, really exciting. Anyone interested in getting copies of the book, it's up there now, you can see it. But if anybody wants to receive a copy of this video, we're happy to make it available for schools, aren't we, Liz?
Yes, yes,
yeah.
of course.
And make it available for kids, especially in these times when we need education at home, when we're experiencing the pandemic, I can't say it, too much for my mouth.
Thanks for that. Yes, it is a nice story, and it's really good for students to be listening to this and learn about that really nice true story actually of your life as well. So it'll be very good.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this, and it's been a real pleasure and privilege to have this done with you in French and in English.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you very much.
Tell people how they can contact you for the fabulous French lessons that you give, because you're doing them with Zoom online now, and as
yes,
I'm doing them every Wednesday. So
yeah, it's so Let's Speak French is www.letspeakfrench.com.au. This is my website where you can contact me and for online lesson if you want to do. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.